start the rest of the session, which is there is a talk about IoT Forum, then there is a VC panel, and then there is an award session. So we will start that quickly. I would like you to stay on. And can I have the PPT for the IoT Forum? Forum 2.0. Don't have it? OK, try to locate it. I'll still start. So I am Arvind Tiwary. I'm the chair of IoT Forum. And we will just start for the next 15, 20 minutes, a little bit about what 900 startups mean. So TI, as you are all aware, has been around. So there is an event which is Leapfrog. And some of you may have heard of Nandan Nilankani talk about the WhatsApp moment of finance. So that happened at Leapfrog. We don't do Leapfrogs every year, maybe too much. So the next Leapfrog, when it comes, we will enjoy it. There is a program TI does called Antah Prerna, and Sanjay, etc., started it, and which is actually my favorite. It's about your inner drive, entrepreneurship inner drive. And we just recently helped the government of Karnataka with Elevate 100, where we helped them grant 33 crores to 100 companies. The IoT Forum, you may not have heard of, was started 3 years back in June 2014. We have done about 36 events, 3,300 people have been touched. We have helped 420 startups. We have an active partnership with ISA, which has helped us, and this event is with ISA. We have a partnership with CISO platform, which is helping us on security. And we do a lot of technical stuff, which is workshops on Contiki, etc. And we do some medium event and the big event. IoT Next, which is this big event, we started in 2015, and some of you may have heard the next part. In 2015, it was the first public launch of the India Stack. Sharat Sharma and his team launched the IoT India Stack here. And in 2016, we picked up agriculture because it is very impactful. And again, now it has established, and we had the support of NABARD for it. In 2017, we are picking up security. And the reason is the Internet of Things will be an Internet of hacks if we don't sort out security. And the problem with security is that the US Congress, NIST, and FTC have an approach to security which is ineffective and, repeat, dangerous. It is not designed to do the job. We are being fools if we think that the US standards are designed to protect us. They are not. So we are proposing, under fresh thinking, tomorrow, a new standard for IoT security, which is India appropriate. We just saw the directory. There, we grew by 100% from 420 to 900. And a lot of growth happened in Bangalore, 55%. And that is for various reasons. Now, what does this number mean? So the growth is not just in the number of companies that TI directory has. I don't know how many of you are aware of a Facebook group called IoT BLR. When I first started 3 years ago, there was a lot of need to learn hardware. So I went to a lot of meetups, etc. There was an alpha lab in JP Nagar, and there's this Facebook group. And they have 18,000 members. Hardware, 18,000. That group is closed. They have switched to Applied Singularity, which is much smaller. But there's another group, which is called Bangalore Makerspace and Hardware Creativity or something like that. If the deck was there, I could read it. It's run by a firebrand lady called Kavita Arora. That has 20,000 members. Yes, 20,000. Hardware, Makerspace, and creativity. A part of it is our Brahmanical culture. A lot of us talk, but very few do. But there's a LinkedIn group also I am a member of, which has 99,000 members. That is huge. That is, so what has happened? We all were performing in our drawing room, and we have suddenly gone on national stage. So the scale is a problem. Now, what's the problem with scale? The single largest problem is noise. So if you go to these Facebook groups, there are about 50, 60 posts every day. If somebody asks a question, where do I make wearables in Bangalore? Somebody answers, you will never find it, because 3 days later, it is some 300 line items below. And there's a lot of advertisements. There is a lot of noise. In the LinkedIn group, the marketing research guys have become very good. It's always market research. It will take you some minute to find that he wants you to buy a market research report. There is no news. And genuine stuff and IEEE and all that get lost. So this is a big problem of news. And for example, there was the amateur group, the IoTBL Alpha Lab group, had kept an Excel sheet they were maintaining of standard components, etc. I knew it existed. So when we started our directory, I wanted to get hold of it and use it as a basis. It took a lot of time to find it. And then it is not up to date. Because community has to maintain it, and it is not findable, it is not maintained. So that was our first learning. If we want to scale up, we must make it easy for the community to find, to discover, and to build. And that means we have to use a different approach. Facebook is not an easy way to find things. So we are using the world's most successful knowledge management system, Wikipedia. Now, we are not trying to be an encyclopedia. We are doing an IoT wiki. It's open source. You can all maintain it. It will have tremendous information about IoT. As you have heard, it's difficult, and you need to understand a lot of things. But it is India first. We are not interested in European standards which don't work. And by the way, 2G, 3G, 4G won't work. And the reason they didn't work is part of the achievements we did. So when we started, we selected 26 companies in 2014, and we worked with them to find out what stops people from having ideas which don't work. We're not interested in VC, market, and all that. We just wanted to find out what makes it fail. And we learned a lot. But part of the companies we selected, they were very successful. So Cardiac Design Lab went on to win Google Launchpad, Startup Saturday, and we have Reticence, and we have QE and Loginext. The second thing we did is we talked about spectrum. Now, we are a call drop nation. And if you're going to add IoT to the same spectrum, we will become a complete no-call nation. There's only 2 megahertz allotted for IoT, which is outside the licensed band. And we said, for an economy of the size, for IoT, that's inadequate. We need 10 megahertz. We were laughed away when we started, but I think with persuasion, TRI has finally recommended 9 megahertz. If that happens, there is some hope. Then the second thing is LPWAN. Now, Wi-Fi, 2G, 3G are OK for high bandwidth things, but they're completely inappropriate for IoT. If you do a smart city with Wi-Fi and 3G, if you take Mumbai, you will need 1 billion devices, and if you do smart city, power, water, lighting, you will need 200 megawatt of power. You think Mumbai municipality has money to pay for 200 megawatt? And do consumers want their bill to increase for that? Not happening. So therefore, there is a need to look at an India-appropriate technology, which we call low-power wide area network. There's more than $1 billion of VC investment which has flown into these technologies. And they will reduce the time to launch by more than 70%. So if it takes 2 years to launch a smart city project in Bangalore, you could do it in 3 months. It's that fast. And much less expensive, 30% cheaper. Similarly, on agri, we found out it's a business model issue. So having a lot of this experience, we know that a lot of information you get from the West is not good. So our IoT wiki is contrarian. Thank you. Finally. Yeah, so this is the problem of scale. As I mentioned, you can see the groups, 22,000, 30,000, 99,000. And this is the problem of noise. You have too many ads and all that. And this is the problem of trying to find stuff. So here we are. So our assumption is that you need to make sure people come to the table with enough information. Lots of time when we run workshops, we have people with some basic knowledge. We spend 2 hours just getting them to understand what is hardware, what is embedded engineering, what is radio, what is brand management, what is inventory, what is this thing. It is just too difficult. We just barely get the first floor ready. We need to change this. We need people to do their homework. We need to make it easy to have some courses. When they come, they are already on the 2nd floor, and we can build 6 stories after that. That is how you scale. That is how we bring out the IoT quotient of India, and that's where the wiki will help. And please question a lot of received wisdom. I'm very contrarian. I'm very notorious for doing it. So give me two minutes to explain 2 contrarian ideas. But they're very important ideas. And Sanjay Anandaram has heard of me, and people fall off their chair when I say. So what is IoT? Cisco and others have defined the terms. But hey, you know what? It's India rising. We can also define terms. We define terms which make sense for us. IoT is smart device. It may be connected. Connectivity is optional. And you will say, hey, it's about the Internet of Things. It has to be connected. A rose is a rose is a rose. I define it for my purpose. I want disruption, I want employment, I want innovation. So if I build a robo which can go into a hazardous nuclear mine and work, it's a control mission. It doesn't have to be very intelligent. It just goes and checks if the rod is up or down. During that operation, because it's an hazardous thing, it may work semi-autonomously. It doesn't have to be connected during work. It's useful. If I have a drone which can descend the chute of an iron steel factory furnace and inspect, during that inspection, it's a hazardous thing, very high heat, it may not be connected. It may still work semi-autonomously. You may have a medical device. You may calibrate, you may take the data, but for actual diagnosis, it doesn't need to be connected. It does it on the device. It's a useful device. We will call it an IoT device. We are defining it. On the other hand, if it's a dumb device, it's just a temperature sensor and it tweets it, not interested. Smartness is essential, connectivity is not essential. And that will help you think how to make money. A connected device which has no smartness is a waste of time. It's a school project. Don't waste your time on it. Smartness is essential. AI, ML, and all that. And smartness is contextual. The second thing which I say, which again got people to do, that the standards you talk about, you will hear Wi-Fi wireless, you will hear all that. Please take it from me. The IoT has immature standards. None of them are fit for purpose. None of the spectrum, none of the connectivity technologies, 3G, 4G, LTE are fit for purpose. They will all fail. I'll give you a simple example. And that's a tremendous opportunity. If you look at the VC investment, it's happening in the infrastructure layer. More than $1 billion has gone on radio infrastructure. I'll give you an example. Monaco, the smart city of Monaco, runs 30,000 devices per kilometer, smart lights, car parking, etc. If we were to do Delhi, we will run 45,000 devices a kilometer. Dharavi will be around 150,000 devices per kilometer. I assure you, none of the technologies can handle that density. Even 3G stations will collapse by the time you get 5,000, 6,000 devices to the node. 5G is the only first network built with IoT in mind. It's designed to handle 50,000 nodes. And actually, 5G is the ultimate edge IoT network. And please mark your dates for 2018, around the same time. We will run a theme on the ultimate edge network of IoT, which is 5G. And once you come there, you will be convinced you're wasting your time with all these other technologies. So it is either low power wide area network or it is 5G. So the purpose of our IoT wiki is to make sure you make informed choices. Don't go for hype. Understand your choices. You still want to do Wi-Fi? Be my guest. But at least we told you what the problems are. Regulation is another problem. Now, TRI is very nice. They do this consultative process. They have very nice letters, etc. But you know, their worldview is different. So on the colorful panel, there are a lot of applications. If you do automotive, you do fleet management, you do agriculture, I don't know if you know, but TRI proposes that you have to be licensed as an other service providers. You have to apply to TRI. You have to pay a 10 lakhs guarantee for messing the network up. And you can't do business until your device is tested by TRI. This is license Raj in reverse. And the nature of the beast is TRI, and this is a Galileo and the Christian church problem. TRI thinks telecom is the center of the world and IoT is a small appendage, nuisance fellow, let's control it, let's put it in order. We think IoT apps are the value creation and telecom is just 10-15% of that. And we don't even use cellular resources half the time. We run over other things. What the hell? So this is a huge issue and it needs a lot of engagement. So to give you an example, we made a suggestion to try. 2G spectrum is going to be delicensed because we are pushing. So why don't you license it for IoT only at much lesser cost? At 10,000 crores a megahertz, telemedicine and a lot of agriculture and IoT will not work. It is very foolish. Even though the Honorable Supreme Court has asked you to auction, it's very foolish. You tell farmers, don't do cash crop only, do multi-crop, because if pestilence happens, or if the price of the cash crop drops when you actually ripen, you are in trouble, so you do multi-cropping. Now, spectrum should also have multi-cropping. Why should everything be for video and voice? IoT should also be give and thing. Let's see if they listen to it. Now, this is a problem of regulation is actually very intense. And let me put it in the following way. And I'm trying to be nice to my friends in the Cloud Innovation Council of India. And some of my friends are here. So if the government of India were to ask data, Facebook, Google, should it be kept in India or outside? You can rest assured, they will not say it should be kept in India. It should be optional. But after Snowden, if you have an India-first approach, it may be expensive. But if it's critical for the national security, it better be kept in India. So the problem with these industry consultation bodies like NASSCOM, et cetera, you are representing your employer. And you cannot do an India-first approach when it conflicts with your employer. So we are asking individuals who are knowledgeable and who want to help India first, join our regulation forum. Help us understand, help us formulate policy, help us influence TRI. We are India first, and we would need help. So the goal of IoT Forum 2, raise the quotient of India, and think outside, think different. How do we do it? We will do it many ways, but we want to evangelize. So we have a knowledge discovery process. I think one of the things that happens is, and we know, India lives on WhatsApp and chai and forwards. And the WhatsApp forwards are really, really good. Amul has a lot of competition. These forwards are very creative. And it's also very interesting. So you will get a video from one group, and then a few minutes later, or maybe a few days later, you'll get it from some other group. And if you pay attention to that, you will figure out this is the left, this is the right, these are the bucks, these are the non-bucks, and this group thinks Virat Kohli is much better than, oh my God, Sachin Tendulkar. So those are very passionate groups which talk. But they don't have dialogue. It's forwards, it's shallow discussion, not enough discussion. So we want to break it into news, announcements, and discussions so that discussions can be meaningful. And announcements are about skills, people, freelancers, skills, not PR stuff, product launches. Now, discussion, let me give you an example of the discussion. The other day, I had a very technically good person give me about a half an hour gyan about how IoT security, which is a passion I'm driving, can be solved by blockchain. Now, normally, if it's a stupid idea, 1 minute, I don't wait for more than that. Now, I didn't know blockchain, so I had to listen, and I listened. Then I said, okay, let me understand. Let me give you a scenario. I have this device. Now, it wants to create a new user. He wants to lock in the credentials, so I will send it. You have these 40 nodes in this blockchain system who have to agree. Each one of them has to hash it. Now, they're not going to hash each transaction. They need a block. So block is 10 transactions, 100 transactions. So 10 users have to go for credentialing. Then you will hash it. Then all of them will say they agree or they don't agree. If they don't agree, then there's some consensus process. I think it's not happening in a second. It'll probably be a minute. Actually, it's about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, for this 1 minute, this IoT device, this poor little guy who doesn't have enough battery power for normal life and maybe on a thing, has to remain alive. And do you know, and this is the thing which most people don't know, you cannot have more than 1% duty cycle. That means the next 99 minutes, you can't open your mouth. That's not the way an IoT device will work. Sorry, different architecture. So this is the type of discussions that need to happen, which don't happen. We end up swallowing a lot of hype. And this is one we want to make happen. These are the interest groups so that people can discover, and we have this fresh thinking and M2M regulation. You will see that we have a wiki. If you go to www.iotforindia.org, there's a beta version. You will see all of this. The other thing is, in any field, you go to any field, you heard a lot of talk. IoT is hard because it's radio engineering, it's embedded design, it's hardware, it's branding, it's inventory. Plus, you have to build a SaaS company at the back end. You have to build an app, and you have to do ML. So in any field, there are certain classics. It doesn't matter if it's old. If you're doing marketing, Marshall McLuhan, the medium is the message. If you're doing business strategy, Potter, competitive advantage. So there are enduring classics that you should be found, and we help you find that. Myself and Venki did a small piece based on the 420 startups we have, which is a very nice diagram of them. And this is very good. More than 6,000 people have read it, a lot of comments. And I get a lot of heat for this. So I have startups who say, Arvind, you are favoring that company. Their icon is there. I am in the same business. My icon is not there. And I said, guys, it's our dharma to help you, but I can't put 420 icons there. Just let it go. We will do it in another way. So the IoT Wiki is the way to help. So when you do search, if you know what you're looking for, you can go Google and search. And hope with some time you will find out. But if you don't know what you don't know, which is the problem most of the time in IoT, you are a guy, you land in Paris, you don't know French, you have never heard anything, you just go out, you will spend 3-4 days before you figure out anything. It's a terrible amount of wastage, which is what happens for most IoT startups. 18 months gone in figuring out that connectivity is difficult, and that if a guy with the engineering chops of Apple has an antenna gate problem, you will have an antenna problem very fast. People don't want to listen. They need to be learned by the school of hard knocks. That's okay, that's your choice, but we are offering an option. So this is our guide map to the IoT space. It's a structured knowledge base which helps you understand, and there's a very interesting thing about edge and fog computing. Many of you think they're the same, they're interchangeable. Maybe in Cisco's mind, but not in our mind. Edge computing is when a node and a gateway are self-sufficient. You talk like V2V, V2I, you don't have to go to the cloud and do it. Endpoint computing is when you do it on the device, which is this autonomous robot. Traditional is when it goes to the gateway, goes to the cloud, and comes back. The fog computing is when everything is involved. And this is typically for malware, surveillance, network surveillance, multiple gateways, multiple on-premise servers, and the cloud is involved. That's fog. So these are operational definitions that help you think clearly so that when we get to building stuff, you start at the second story and we can build 6 stories. We don't waste time on the first story. So with that, I would like to end and say we are excited about this journey. It's a large undertaking, but hey, we have 900 startups. We have 30,000 people on Facebook groups talking hardware IoT. And I think if you saw the Google search terms, India is 6th on searching for IoT in Google Trends, so we are doing well. So we want to help you, curate, use, join, make it happen. Please note down the URL. And if you want to join IoT, please mail in, there are people, and we'd like to make it happen. Thank you.